Hello everybody, and welcome to Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement, What's New webinar. So the goal today is that we are going to take a look at the new things that Microsoft is releasing in this Wave 2 for Dynamics 365 sales and customer service. And let's jump right in and start with a bit of an introduction. Let me just change the screen so we will see everything better. Okay. So let's start with a short introduction. My name is Andrej Černivec. I am working at BE-terna as a customer landing manager. So that means that part of my job is being up to date with the newest technologies, functionalities and products, and I would like to share a part of this today with you. We will do a short Q&A session at the end of this webinar, but if you have any questions later on, feel free to contact me directly. You can find me on LinkedIn, you can send me an email, or if it's easier for you, you can scan the QR code that you see on the slide and add me to LinkedIn that way. So what will be the topic of today's webinar and what actually are the release waves, as we call it? So some of you that are using Dynamics services know that Microsoft is releasing, let's say, a bigger batch of updates 2 times per year. And they call this a release wave. Why a wave? Because not all of the updates are released on a single day, but this is a process that is being done, let's say, for wave 1 from April 2020 to September 2020. And currently we are at the beginning of wave 2, which will start in October 2020 and will go on to about March 2021. Now, most, let's say, majority of the updates that we will be looking at today will be available in October. Microsoft is releasing these updates per region, and we can expect that these changes will come to your environment, of course, if you're using Dynamics, somewhere between October 16th and October 18th in Europe. Okay, so let's take a look at what we actually have in this release wave 2. So as I mentioned, we will be talking about 2 modules today. We'll be talking about Dynamics 365 Sales and Dynamics 365 Customer Service. Now, Microsoft is trying to make it simple for us by summarizing the focus of each update. So we know where they made the main improvements, where they added main new functionalities, and what was actually their goal. So for this release, or let's say October release, Microsoft has divided this, let's say, focus into 3 points for sales and into 3 points for customer service. Now with sales, they figured out that the current application that is being used by salespeople when they are actually on field is simply not good enough. It was the exact same applications that everybody else in the company was using. It was still nice, it was based on unified interface, but there were simply too many things that a salesperson could do, and it was just, let's say, a little bit confusing. So Microsoft has dedicated efforts to release a new sales mobile app. We'll take a look at how the app looks a little bit later on, but the point was to make intuitive mobile experience, to offer quick access to customer information for salespeople, and of course to make it easy to keep this information current, because if we don't do this, then we don't have relevant info in our Dynamics environments. The second point that Microsoft is trying, let's say, to improve here is forecasting. Now, forecasting was a big focus of the previous release, but they are upgrading this experience with new functionalities. and of course, they are aware that forecasting is a big part of the sales process, important, and they are trying to make bottom-up sales forecasts and predictability even easier for us. The third part of this sales release is focused on usability enhancements. Now, this may be little tweaks here and there, but actually these little tweaks help us a lot when we are trying to efficiently use our Dynamics 365 environments and be productive every day. And we will take a look at what are these main tweaks a little bit later on. Now, if we go to Dynamics 365 customer service, we see that Microsoft is focusing on the agent productivity. Again, they kind of realized that the current unified interface environment that is general and everybody uses it, it's not good enough for specific purposes. In this case, for agents in customer service. So they upgraded the environment with new functionalities, new multi-sessions, tabs, and so on. We'll take a look at this a little bit later. Now they are also upgrading omnichannel for customer service. We won't dive deeper into this part on our presentation, but it is an interesting product to look at. And they are expanding possibilities of integrations. So pretty much every channel is now available, and you can really set up a multi-channel environment in your organization. And the third part is focused on insights and AI-driven suggestions. Now, maybe this part is not particularly important for our region because most of the AI-driven suggestions are based on language processing. And of course, we know that for Adriatic region, this doesn't work as good as for, let's say, English, but there are still some improvements that could help us, and we will take a look at them in this presentation later on. Okay, let's move into the sales part and see what Microsoft has prepared here. Now, we won't go through each update, every update that Microsoft put in this release. I picked out the ones that I think will increase the productivity and will give you added value and the things that you will actually notice when you are using your Dynamics 365 sales environment. So the first one, let's dive right in, is enterprise-grade, fully customizable forecast. As I mentioned before, Microsoft already did a big step in the previous release. We got this amazing forecast where you could roll up opportunities by territory or by hierarchy, and you could add additional manageable columns and such. But now Microsoft is taking one step further and actually expanded the possibilities of forecasting by adding, for example, forecast by product. As you may have noticed on this video that is rolling on the slide right at the beginning, you can actually use custom entities to create roll-up forecasts. So basically, you can create your own hierarchy. They also added support for multi-currency. That's important for every company that has offices in the different countries, pretty much. They added support for quantity forecasts, maybe a small, but I think important thing is that you can actually hide managers from their own forecasts, so you get relevant numbers, and you can make calculated columns adjustable. If you don't remember what calculated columns are, basically you can just add additional column. You can add a formula to calculate something from different data, and adjustable means that you can change the sum, change the forecast on the fly directly in the forecast view if you think that it is not representative or you have some additional information to make it a little bit more realistic. Now this forecast has already been available in the preview version of Dynamics. but not all of the functionalities, especially those for multi-currency, quantity forecasts, and so on, will be available later in October. But when they are available, they will be applied automatically to your environment. So it's basically just up to you to decide when to set up your forecast and start using it. The next thing is the Sales Mobile app. I will try to show you how this looks by giving you these screenshots. So as you see, Microsoft realized that the normal user interface is simply not good enough, and they developed a specific application for salespeople. The focus on with this application is that when a salesperson opens an app, he gets all the relevant information right there on the first screen. So usually what they want to do is to take a note after the meeting or create a new contact, a new lead. He needs to have a view of all of the meetings for today, what is coming up. He needs to have his recent contacts. Obviously, salespeople need to be in contact with their clients, and salesperson also needs to have a view of, for example, all of the opportunities or similar records that he is currently working on. So if you take a look at the screen, on the first screen, we see this first homepage, let's say, with big buttons with simple info. They can simply select a contact or a button, create a contact, enter info quickly. They can get additional info on already existing contacts. For example, it only takes 2 clicks to open a contact and get to a relevant opportunity on that contact, as we see on the third screen. And if we take a look at other functionalities, you see that you have a quick overview of all of your meetings. You can select a specific meeting, like we see on the second screen. You can see the participants, and that's important. You also see the, let's say, opportunity that is related to this meeting. So you can actually directly edit the opportunity, or for example, when the meeting ends, directly enter the visit summary, and that's it. You finish your job in a couple of minutes and go to the next client. So the productivity really increases here. Okay, so the next functionality that we have here is enhanced experience for adding product lines. Now, this functionality won't be available until, let's say, somewhere in November 2020 for preview, and it will actually be released in the first part of 2021. Let's hope in January, but I think it's worth mentioning because it's a pretty important one. All of you who are using the complete sales process and are using opportunities, you're using quotes or invoices to add products, you know that when you are trying to add multiple products and a large number of products, the experience is not the best. So Microsoft is really trying to improve that, and firstly by using the screen in a way that you actually see the products that you need to add. You see the catalog, you see the price list all on one screen, but you don't lose focus of the opportunity. When you add the products, you get additional information. So you actually have details regarding the product. You can actually decide what these details would be, what the detailed information on the product line would be. You can configure that. Before there was a fixed screen that was that. And you can actually select multiple products, multiple categories, all in a pop-up screen, add them, and the same experience will now be available for quotes, for orders, and for invoices, as it was previously, let's say, for opportunities. So you will have quick adding of the products in any business case. Okay, so the next thing that Microsoft is improving here is duplicate detection and merge. Now, some of you may know that you already have these duplicate rules. You already have, let's say, pop-up screens where you can merge two records together. You can select the fields that you want to take from one record, from the second record, and merge them together, and so on. what Microsoft is doing here is improving the experience. Now, let's say the first pain point that we had here was that when you actually got a notification that two customers may be similar, you only got the name and basic information. Microsoft is expanding this, so you actually get additional information, and it's easier to decide if the customer is actually a duplicate, or you're creating a new record and let's say just the name is similar, but that's a coincidence. Now the second thing that Microsoft is improving is how you match these contacts and accounts, for example, or in any other case, cross entity. That means that when you are entering, let's say, a contact, it will notify you that a similar account already exists, or maybe this is important when you are entering a new lead, it will notify you that an account already exists. And now this functionality was there in Dynamics before, but Microsoft really took a big step by improving the interface to make it easier for the user and to easily merge or match these records together. And the third part where Microsoft is improving is this screen where you actually pick fields, pick the data that you want from each record. Now again, this was also available in the previous versions, but the interface is now cleaner, more intuitive, and it's easier to merge two records together. So let's hope that with this new interface and new options, we will have even less duplicates. Now this functionality has no preview, so these are only mock-up screens, but it will be released in October, so you can expect it with the first batch of updates, but it will have to be enabled by your admins so that you will actually see the changes. Okay, the next thing I'm really excited about this feature is enhanced PDF experience. Now, as long as I can remember, when we were trying to implement either sales or customer service or any other module anywhere, there was a requirement that we created some kind of a document. And usually the client wanted us to generate these documents in a PDF form. Now Microsoft took a big step in the previous release, actually 2 releases back, when they implemented PDF generation out of the box in Dynamics environments. The only problem was that you were only able to generate PDFs on certain entities, let's say opportunity, and that was it. Microsoft is now expanding this by enabling us to generate PDF on every entity. That includes custom entities, so you can enable this feature anywhere in the system. And most importantly, they are improving the interface where you select the templates. So you can actually see how the document will look, and it's easier to select, and it's easier to then do something with this PDF document. At the beginning, you could only download the PDF document, then they added the functionality to send it via email, but these buttons, these options were totally separated, and we will see how this looks now. It's better. And the third thing that is maybe not important for the users, but it's definitely important for us as implementators, is that you can actually use APIs. That means that we can create logic that will do things automatically for you. Let's say automatically send a PDF to a customer when a certain process is done. If we just enlarge this screen, you will see that when you actually want to create a PDF document, you have a search function on the left-hand side. If you have a lot of templates, when you select a certain template, you actually see the preview, you see the PDF, how it will look with the data already in it. And then you can just select the PDF and you can say download or save to SharePoint or even email to a customer with one click, and that is done. And if we just take a look at the configuration here, you see that it's as easy as just marking a certain entity, and this functionality will be available there. Obviously, you need to create some kind of a template for this entity, but the main thing is that it's really effortless to enable functionality throughout the system. Now, apart from PDF, Microsoft also improved the email experience greatly. If you take a look at the video that's on the screen, you will see that emails now look kind of like in Outlook or maybe in Gmail if we take a look at the competition. So if you take a look at the timeline, you will see that you actually have buttons directly on the activity that allow you to reply to all, or forward the email. When you select an email, it will open up in context in a window like you see on the screen. You can have up to 3 different windows at the same time. You can minimize them so you can continue your work. You don't lose focus of the opportunity that is in the background. And you get this really nice email editor. So as you can see, you can actually format your text. You can copy paste images directly into the email editor. You can actually copy paste the whole content from, let's say, a Word file into this email editor, and it won't lose form. The formatting will be the same and the email will look great. What's also important is that Microsoft improved handling of attachments. As you can see now here on the screen, we have a preview function. So here I opened up a PDF document that was attached on to an email, and you can actually go through the PDF, you can see the content, and then you decide if you want to download it or close or do something with it. Now, the previous experience was actually quite horrible. You actually had to download each attachment to take a look at it, and if you were trying to find a document in CRM, that was pretty much impossible. The second thing that Microsoft improved is how you attach files. If you remember, in the version before, you actually had a pop-up and then you had to drag and drop or find the files. Now you only have one click and you can select multiple files, and all of the files will be attached to the email automatically. And what's also important here is that this kind of email behavior is consistent. That means that it now works for actions like view, update, and reply, and so on. In the previous release, this improved email window was only available when you were composing a new email. So a large step here, and thumbs up for Microsoft. Okay, and if you take a look at the last important update in the sales module is the management of activities. And again, this is very great if you are trying to handle your emails, but it also comes in handy when you are trying to handle your let's say notes or tasks or meetings or phone calls or pretty much any activity that you have in the timeline. Now, the first thing is specific for emails. You can now select how you want to view the emails, either as conversations or as individual messages. You might know this functionality from Outlook. It's really nice if you select the conversations, because then you don't lose track of what was said in the previous emails and you see everything as one chat. The second thing is that we now have a button to collapse all of the activities at once, so you can actually see everything that was in the activities. And the third thing is the search. Now you probably know that you already have a search on your timeline if you have the previous release, but now you actually get a highlight of the search term. For example, here on this screenshot, you see I searched for a list of printers, and I actually found a task, and list of printers was highlighted directly. And this is also useful if you're searching for emails, so you immediately know where in the email the thing that you're searching for actually is. Okay, so these were the main updates for the sales module, and now we'll take a look at what Microsoft brought us for the customer service module. And let's continue with activities, and let's see what we have here. Now, the first thing is pretty much similar to activity management that we mentioned in sales, is the ability to have a text editor that has functionalities similar to Word. So that means that you have formatting, you can change colors, you can copy paste images, you can copy paste links, you can add sections, you can actually add div, and a lot of things. And this is all in line. And what we see here is a screenshot from the timeline from the activity. But the best part here is that Microsoft will enable this as a PCF control. This means that we can take any field, any multi-line text field that you have in your dynamic system and convert it into this rich text input. Now, why is this under customer service? Because one of the pain points there was when customer service representatives or agents were trying to put something in the description field. It was hard for them to, let's say, add images, point out some things and so on. Now that we will get this rich text input field, it will be easier and knowledge transfer will be simpler. So this is a very good functionality that will be enabled with this new October release. If we stay with activities, this might seem like a small and unimportant update, but based on our past experiences, this is a great one. Now, a lot of clients have asked us to modify this menu when you click plus and you try to add the activity, and they only use one or two types of activities. But obviously, if you add them, you can have multiple here. You can now actually select which activities will be visible to make it easier for the customers, for the users to select the correct one and to create activities quicker. Now, the second thing is that you can show records in timeline expanded by default. I mentioned previously that you have a button to do that, but you can set this as default. And you can also change the view by removing the status text and what you've missed to make the interface a little bit cleaner and easier for the users. Okay, if we go to the next update, updates will get a preview in October, so I can't show you anything yet actually. We only have a description, but I think it's a good one. So the point of this new update, which is titled Knowledge Search Historical Analytics, is to get a better understanding of what agents are searching for while helping customers. So basically, in my opinion, if you don't know what your customer service agents are doing, what are they searching, what are the most common cases, then you cannot fix your product or you cannot make improvements. And this new reports and metrics will enable you to do just this. So basically, you will be able to get analytics based on your search term volume, on your search term average click position, engagement rate. You will get top searches, you will get searches with no returns, and you will get searches with low engagement rate. So you will actually get a picture of where your problems are, what customer service agents are using the most, and you can minimize the effect of that on you, or you can create better knowledge articles, you can improve the solving time and so on. So there are a lot of actions that you can actually do with these reports. Now, Microsoft has taken a step here in regards to reporting and is including AI and different analytics on the customer service part. I did not include this in the presentation because, again, as I mentioned, these analytics don't work so great in the Adriatic region, but I expect that in the future releases, this will be available for us and for different languages also, and you will get even deeper insights on how your customer service center is running. Okay, so the next one, I think this is, apart from email in sales, my favorite update of the release. and it's called a customer service workspace. And it's actually a new multi-session app that Microsoft has provided for customer service agents. And the great thing here is that you get a multi-session and multi-tab experience. What this means, if you take a look at the screen and the video, we are currently on home screen, and we can add multiple tabs. So for example, on the first tab, we have dashboards. On the second, we have activities. And then we can, for example, open cases in the third tab. And this is kind of like our homepage, home screen, where we scroll through everything that we need to do. And when we pick a case, if we hold down Shift, we will actually get a new session. So as you see, the case was opened in the left-hand side. And actually in this new session, you get a completely new tab, multiple tabs if you want. What this means, for example, you are working on a case and you don't want to lose focus of the case. So you open detailed information regarding the customer in a second tab. Then you need to check or answer an email. It makes sense to open this email in another tab so you don't lose context, and you can quickly switch back and forth between, let's say, customer info, email, case, and so on. And this is all inside this case session, let's call it like this. And you can quickly switch to another case, like we see on the left-hand side. If I click on the second case session, I will get completely new tabs with obviously new information and so on. Microsoft is also providing help through AI here. On the right-hand side, you see a small tab. Now, if we had any suggestions for knowledge articles or similar cases or something like that here, we could open this tab and we would get the results. So we would be able to quickly solve the case. You might also notice that Microsoft changed how we switch between the apps. We get a new pop-up window, so we don't actually lose focus and leave the organization immediately. So this interface is really nice. I suggest you try it. This is, of course, currently a preview. It will be released in October 2020, and then you can try to roll out and use it in your customer service department, but because I suspect that the productivity of the agents will increase. Now, if you take a look at the details, we see here that if you are using a big screen, you get really a lot of information. On the left-hand side, you see we have sessions marked under numbers 1 and 2, a specific session marked under number 3. We have data regarding the case in numbers 4. We have activities and cases on 5, and we have different tabs under the number 6. And you can easily add new tabs just by clicking on plus and selecting what do you want to open in a new tab in numbers 7. Of course, you can open, as I mentioned, anything in a new session in a new tab by holding either Control key or Shift key. Okay, so the next great feature functionality that Microsoft has provided is enhanced knowledge articles editing. Again, as you might notice throughout this presentation, Microsoft added this inline formatting capabilities, and Microsoft added this also to knowledge articles. That means that you can actually format the articles, you can add inline pictures, and you can add, that's fun, sections, as you see here on the screen. So basically you can join different bullets, different text into one section, and then you can then close, or you can then collapse those sections and make it easier for the users, the customer service agents, to actually go through the knowledge base article, and if they need details, they can open the section there. You can also include divs, you can also include embedded media, as I did here in the video, just by copy pasting from Word. And we have this great preview of the knowledge base article, and we can actually get a preview for desktop, or for, let's say, tablet computer like iPad, or how it will look on a mobile device. so we know that the content looks great everywhere in the unified interface. There were also small changes like updated icons and so on to give it a more modern look. Okay, so the next thing that we have here is a modern email template experience for agents. You probably know that when working in customer service center, you need to send usually a lot of emails, you need to send solutions via emails and so on. And it's really productive that you have templates prepared. And now users, agents, and of course administrators can prepare a rich and colorful templates. And we have a sample here. When you're trying to create a new template, to actually get different templates, different settings already designed for us. You can see the preview, you can select a specific template and then just personalize it, add placeholders. You can copy paste the content again from, let's say, Office documents, like I mentioned before, and everything keeps its form. So it's really easy to create great content here. And of course, once we have these templates, once we have knowledge articles that I mentioned before in a form that is actually suitable and looks nice, we can actually insert this knowledge article into the email. Now, this functionality was available before in the old interface. They moved this functionality to the unified interface with this release, and they actually improved the experience. So you see you have a button here, and with one click, you can insert knowledge base article directly into the email, or for example, you can search through knowledge base articles here, and you have a button, insert article content, and you will get this content into the email. And when, of course, you are sending this content to a external customer or something like that, again, it's very important that the knowledge article looks good, has sections, has formatting, it's easy to read, and just gives you important information right from the start so that the customers don't get confused. Now, this functionality was also available in the preview version, released on August 3rd, and will be released in October 2020 at the beginning of this second wave. Okay. And then if we go to actually our last update in the customer service, is updates, basically usability enhancements for timeline. Now, again, as I mentioned, Microsoft improved greatly how we can add text, how we can format text, and so on. And you can actually use inline images and rich text notes here. So for example, if you take a look at the screenshot, you will see that we have an email here, and we can add a note where we actually see pictures inline without opening the note, without opening the email. You can have specific email actions like we had in the sales module. You can expand or collapse everything. And when you search, it actually text is highlighted so you can see the content easily. So you see that Microsoft really took a big step in this release to improve experience when inputting text, inputting data into the system and making it look better. So we have this look and feel that was kind of transferred from Word or from Outlook or from similar tools that we are all accustomed to using. And I expect that now it will be more intuitive, and we will have more reasons to use Dynamics environment directly to do most of the tasks without switching to other external tools. Okay, so these were actually by my opinion, the most important updates of this release for sales and customer service. And let's see if we have any questions. Okay, so for now, we don't have any questions. I will maybe just give you a second or two. Okay, so I guess everything is clear. I hope you saw some new things that will benefit you in your use of Dynamics 365 sales and customer service. As I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, feel free to contact me via email, via LinkedIn, or call me directly on my mobile phone. And we'll have another session on what's new when Microsoft is releasing new updates next year. So thank you very much for listening and have a nice day. Bye.